Hi everybody, welcome back to Enjoying Retirement. Today we are in beautiful Bergen, Norway, and I'm going to share with you the top 8 things my wife and I enjoyed doing there during our recent visit. What a beautiful city. We're going to start off right at the beginning with the fish market. You'll hear a lot about the fish market. Let's fly in so you can get an idea where it is. It's right at the end of the harbor. There's an outdoor fish market under tents and an indoor market that'll take care of you during inclement weather. So let's start off at the outdoor market. And as you can see, it is drizzling a little bit, but still enjoyable place to walk through. You're going to end up seeing a lot of fish, a lot of lobster, a lot of shellfish, but they also have some restaurants here. It's a little less pricey than the indoor one we'll see in a moment. And here is one. Beautiful seating, a good view of the harbor. Go ahead, take a look at the prices. Oh, by the way, a krona is about worth a dime in the U.S. So when you're looking at prices throughout Norway and Sweden for that matter, just drop the last digit and that'll give you the price in dollars in the U.S. Another restaurant. And they have some beautiful lobster and shrimp that they're cooking up for somebody's dinner here. It's fun to walk through the fish market. It's not actually that big, but it is an enjoyable walk through. There it is on the right, a little less rainy. And now we're going to take a look at the indoor fish market right underneath the visitor center. One thing you notice right away is that this is a very modern building. I believe it's only been there about 10 or 15 years, and it caters to a little bit more upscale environment. Still just beautiful fish, and look at those crab legs. They even have a sushi bar if you're inclined to do that while you're there. Beautiful shellfish. And of course, they have regular fish, smoked fish. Walk down a little bit more and look up, and you're going to find out you can even get your dried fish here, which of course Norway is famous for. All right, let's take a look at the restaurant. They have quasi-outdoor seating, protect you from the elements. And they have several different stalls there. Some of them overlap in food, some are different. Look at the shellfish that this guy has. Just amazing. So whether you're going to eat lunch there or not, eat dinner, it's fun to walk through and see what they have. As I said, this is a little bit pricier than the outside one. So just be aware of that when you go in. Oh, there's their cheese section. And finish up with caviar. Lots of caviar shops here. All right, so that was the fish market. Let's go ahead and move on to number 7, the Bergen Cathedral. As we move up from the fish market, basically, we're just going 2 blocks in towards the city center. There is the Bergen Cathedral, originally built in 1248, but upgraded throughout the years, and it took its present form in the 1640s. Everyone is free to enter the front doors and get a good view of this portion of the cathedral with portraits of their leading clergy throughout the years. Beautiful architecture. Now you can also go in, but they'll want you to pay a little bit of a fee to see the traditional part of it. But that's not really why we're here. We're going to go back outside and we're going to take a look at the front wall again. What is truly fascinating and unique about this is right there. Do you see it? That little black spot in the center? Yep, that is a cannonball. That has been there since 1665 when the English had the Dutch fleet, commercial fleet, trapped in the harbor. And the English basically wanted the loot from the Indonesian trade. And they had the Dutch fleet here. They fired from about this position. And one of the balls hit the cathedral, and it has been lodged there for almost 360 years. All right, we're going to move on. Now we are going to go over to the Bergenhaus Fortress, this complex right here. We're only going to have time to go in the Rosenkranz Tower, but it is well worth it. There's a couple other buildings in there, a museum. If you have time, take a look at all of them. But here is the Rosenkranz Tower, built about 1270 and housed some of Norway's last kings. It continued to be rebuilt and upgraded till about 1563 when it took its present form. But even after that, it was used as a military facility up to and including World War II when the Germans occupied it. So let's go ahead right on in. And hey, what's the point of going to a medieval castle if you don't start down in the basement? Look at that construction. This is a very well done building. Like many other places, there is just as much in the same size in English as there is in Norwegian. So you can go ahead in there and take a good look at it. And oh, by the way, it has the dungeon. Let's take a look at what it'd be like to be in a dungeon. Of course, there wouldn't be a light bulb, but this is where you would be. Not a fun place. All right, we're going to move up. There are many floors to this thing. Watch your head. The height isn't always what you would expect. All right, now we're going to go visit the guard room. This is where the king's guards would have been. And what you'll start seeing here is that in the 1500s, when Erik Rosencrantz took over, he modified it. So you'll see some floors that don't quite match up with the hallways leading into them. But they have a good model, 3 models of the castle as it was built throughout the ages. Go ahead and move on up. This was the king's private chapel back in the 1200s. There has been restoration work on it over the years, but largely it is as it was from the 1200s, as modified, as I said, back in the 1500s as well, with a lot of up. Beautiful room here, and this was Magnus the Lawmender's bedroom. As I said before, there's a lot of excellent signage, so you can take your time in here. You could probably spend an hour and a half to 2 hours just going through this tower if you read everything and studied it. Of course, every good king has to have his own room, and if you follow this little doorway back, you will come quickly to the throne room. There you have it. All right, let's go back up, moved up to the next flight. And now you're going to get into the great room. And basically what Rosencrantz did was he cut the king's room in half. He put an extra floor in because this thing used to be quite tall. And that created a second room there. Go up one more and you can start getting into the history and armaments of how the tower was used. And this tower was instrumental in the Battle of 1665 when the English tried to attack the Dutch fleet there. Okay, so now we're going to move on, just walk down the street back towards the city center, and we're going to take a look at Bryggen, which is Norwegian for the dock. This is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it was established in about 1070 AD. You're going to see some buildings are in brick, those are the more modern ones, and some represent the traditional wooden ones. And by modern, I mean new since 1702. This area really flourished in 1350 when the Hanseatic League came here and established this as one of their main trading ports. The league was made up of German merchants and traders, and they worked with city-states for mutual benefit of both commerce and security. But now it is a combination of shops, restaurants, and just a unique area to walk around and visit. Highly recommend you get off the main street, just walk up one of the little, looks like an alleyway, and they have beautiful areas in there. So let's go ahead and walk in a shop and take a look at what you can typically find in one of the shops there. Norwegian clothing, furs. Yep, there's reindeer hide. You're going to find reindeer hide all throughout this area. Norwegian wool weaving. Oh, here's another shop. This is a very well outfitted fishing shop. The only one I saw there, and I thought is worth taking a look at. But of course, Norway loves their trolls, and you're going to see trolls everywhere. And they love their salami. Reindeer, moose, and whale. You're going to see this just about everywhere. But here's a pro tip. If you go to the supermarket, the block behind the town square, you can get it for about 40% off. All right, now the next thing we're going to look at, this is Trekroneren. This is a must-stop. If you're hungry, you want a cheap, quick meal, go ahead and stop here. This is the best, basically, hot dog joint in the town. And you can tell by the line. It's also the most well-publicized, so you're going to see it in a lot of recommendations of where to go in Bergen. So let's take a look. There's the menu. They have one in English. And I'm going to end up getting the wild game sausage while my wife gets the more common reindeer sausage. Look at those guys. And they have a wide selection of topics, and if you're not sure what to get, you can just ask, and they will let you know. One of their secrets, though, is in addition to all the sauces, they have those crispy onions. Oh my gosh, that is so good. All right, there's mine. Time for my wife's. Gonna get hers. Man, that is a meal right there with all the sauces on it. And they have quite a list. So if you don't know what to get, like I said, just talk to them. They're very nice, they're very friendly, and they will help you choose. Boy, was that good. Oh, and here's a quick pro tip. If you go there, if it starts raining like it did for us as soon as you pick it up, well, I recommend that you just walk down 2 stores and go to the Bergen McDonald's. Order yourself some fries or a drink and sit down and use their area. And your McDonald's receipt will give you access to their restroom as well. All right, moving on. We're going to go outside the city center for once, and we are going to go to Troldhagen. That is the home of Edvard Grieg, Norway's most famous composer. You can line up and you can take a tour. I believe it starts about every half hour. Beautiful house. Him and his wife lived here for 20-some years. They called it Troldhagen, which basically means hilltop of the trolls. The tour itself is interesting. You can see some fine period pieces, as well as the original Steinway piano that he used to compose some of his most famous songs, to include the piano concerto in A minor, and he also did the music for the play Peer Gynt, including the most famous songs, Morning Mood and In the Hall of the Mountain King. Even if you're not a fan of classical music, you will recognize many of his songs because they're fairly common in movies and other things. As you walk out the back door, you can see his garden, but when you walk down there, that is the little red shop where he did most of his composing. And it's a beautiful area. Get away, get some privacy, have a piano there, and he also had a fantastic view. What a great place to be. And it really brings you closer to music when you can go to the home and you can start understanding why he did what he did and how his music was produced. There is a life-size statue of him. He was a very small gentleman. And off to the left there, they also have a music hall where guest musicians come in and will play some of his music. If you go out to the other side, stroll down a beautiful hill, you will come to the grave site of both Edvard Grieg and his wife. He had an area tunneled out of the solid rock that his house is built into and had their urns placed in there, overlooking the beautiful waters. They have a museum there where you can go in and you can study some of his history and see many of the items that he had during his lifetime, as well as some of the key things. They also have a nice little restaurant there, basically pastries and hot drinks. And here's the display. He had a bit of a fascinating life. And he definitely loved walking around the Norwegian mountains. All right. Next up is World War II Resistance Museum, properly called the Theta Museum after the group that was here during World War II. If we head back into Bryggen, go up one of the alleys, you see the sign here. There's not much there. Just go up the stairs, and then you will see the sign for the Theta Museum. Go up once more, and where you're now is you're actually basically into the rafter area. Go in, and you will see Norway's smallest museum. It is one room. This was the headquarters of the Theta Group, which was a group of very young Norwegian men who used this as their headquarters to report on the German movements and what was happening in the area during World War II. They kept an eye on the Tirpitz, the battleship, and many communications were sent here on its position and location, which was crucial in the destruction of the Tirpitz. They will have a guide there who will give you about a 20-30 minute presentation on everything in the room, and it is quite fascinating. Now, they did not actually live here, but this was their headquarters. Look at that operation of the door. That was their engineering marvel. That was how they got in. If you put a conductor between those two connectors, it would open the door. And oh, by the way, they had it rigged to explode should they need to escape if the Germans were coming. The Germans did discover it in 1942. The only original piece to the museum is this table. One of the local Gestapo leaders liked it so much he used it in his office, and it was recovered after the war. There is the group themselves. And finally, we are going to recommend the Bergen Funicular. Going back down to the city center, you just go up 2 blocks and you can catch it right here. And that will take you up to the top of Mount Floyen. This is a beautiful area. If you want to take a look, I have a separate video on the entire ride up. Oh, by the way, they have that dry aging setup right there. Not really sure why, but it's there. All right, let's go up. This is a 2,769 foot long funicular, and it will take you up about 991 vertical feet. And it was opened in 1918. Here's a hint. When you get on, make sure you get the lowest car, the lowest space in that car, and if you can be one of the first ones on, you can sit right in front of the windows and get beautiful views just like this. There's a red one and a blue one. We're on the blue one, the red one just went by. Both of them are connected by a single cable, and they counterbalance each other, making it a very efficient use of the energy needed to run this thing. Now, once you get up to the top, you can be treated to a spectacular view of the Bergen Harbor, Bergen City, and then out in the distance, you can see where we went to the Edvard Grieg Museum. Let's take a look. Very beautiful area. All right, once you're at the top, there's a couple restaurants, there's a gift shop, place to get some hot drinks and snacks as well. And then once you're refreshed, go ahead, walk around the woods. They are stunning. Just make sure that you don't feed the trolls. And for trolls, they have some wood carvings set up that you can take a look at and enjoy. And oh, by the way, there's another fun thing to do for kids of all ages. Let's take one last look of the Bergen Harbor and think back on the 8 things that I recommended you do. The fish market, the cathedral, the Bergenhaus Museum and Fortress, and the Bryggen, the hot dog place, Trekroneren, Edvard Grieg's museum, the Theta Museum, and the beautiful funicular. Well, hope you got something out of this. Hope it helps you plan your trip over there and you can enjoy it a little bit more. Thanks for watching. As always, I am enjoying retirement.